What's going on, guys? This is Corey from Lion Dads, helping my fellow dads get back in shape and get healthy using a carnivore diet and back to basics exercise. And I know, first of all, I want to apologize. I've been kind of out of pocket the last couple weeks. I haven't been posting that much on here on social media or anything. Just been a busy couple weeks. I've been taking my kid around to college visits and football camps and different things like that, mixing in some different like vacation type stuff where we can fit that in. Family time, summer's coming to an end, wife's going back to work, kids going back to school, but should be able to focus a lot more on this moving forward. You'll be getting back to getting me hopefully a couple times a week. On that note, I thought, as I was doing all this traveling and stuff, it'd be a good opportunity for me to kind of talk about sticking, to your goals and keeping those in mind and staying on course while you're traveling. I know the summer's kind of going to an end. Maybe some of you are going to fit in some last minute vacation trips or whatever you have. Maybe your kids are doing the same thing. You got to take a kid off to college or you got some work trips. Who knows what's coming up? But, a lot of us end up having to travel one point or another. I feel like I'm traveling all the time because I got family spread all over the country. Um, Before we get into all that, though, I want you guys to go down, hit like, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment for the algorithm, and just kind of, if I miss anything, or you have any ideas of things you can do, strategies you can use while you're traveling, let us know down in the comments. So, the first thing I want to go into is when I travel, um, my goals don't change. I don't look at it from a standpoint of, well, this is just too hard. I'm going to have issues sticking to things, blah, 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 blah. And I can just screw off and kind of let go. And that's my choice. That's a choice I make. I know a lot of people who just kind of do that. They're like, oh, well, I'm going to go. I'm traveling and it's harder to find and stay strict, find carnivore meals, stay strict or whatever, harder to get a workout in or whatever. So I'm just going to allow myself this time to be, you know, to kind of slack or what, I don't know what word to use without sounding like a jerk, but, and I just don't do that. And that's me. If you do that, that's totally fine. If you employ the strategy, I'm going to go out, I'm going to be a little more lax, and then I'll come home and get back on track. That's totally, your decision. I leave that up to the individual. But for me, and the goals that I have, which are ever changing and getting, when as I push myself and see how, you know, what I can accomplish as time goes on, they kind of change, and I hold myself to a little higher accountability than I did before. So I don't deviate when I travel. I'm not a guy who goes and says I'm gonna slack off and I'm gonna be relaxed and I'm gonna do this. And that's my choice. You know what I mean? I find a lot of joy and a lot of happiness in my results and finding this newfound discipline that I've found over the last couple of years when, 10 years ago I wasn't like that. And I take a lot of satisfaction and joy in that. So that's just me. That's a me thing. So I'm just kind of laying that out there, why I find that important for myself. But like I said, we're not all the same. Everybody's different. And if you guys want to go out there and kind of take it easy and allow yourself to eat a few bad things, or not bad, but non-carnivore things, and not work out or whatever, that's totally on you. You just have to accept the consequences of what comes with that. Another thing that you need to keep in mind when you are traveling, you might often find it difficult or a little challenging to find that you can stick to the way you want to eat. I know I've been in a lot of situations where it's just hard to find things. Either, I landed in an airport late and nothing's open, or, I'm hitting a long stretch of a highway and there's nothing but like truck stops with like Subway in them or something like that, and I can't really get a lot of good stuff there. Or having to pack like a cooler or something. Sorry, I'm kind of sniffling. My allergies have been kind of acting back up a little bit. I don't know why they've been a lot better the last few years than they've ever been, but I don't know. It seems like this week they've just been kind of creeping back on me, but not so bad. But I'm just feeling them a little bit. But yeah, so back to that. If you're on an airplane, they give out like pretzels and cookies and stuff. But if you want to buy anything, that's maybe more carnivore-ish. I think they were offering some beef jerky on a flight I was on the other day, and it was an egregious amount of money that they were charging. And it was like loaded with sugar and crap in it too. It was basically not even worth eating. So that's something to keep in mind, as you might run into some of those kind of problems, difficulty finding food. And then another thing I want to highlight is the importance of planning ahead when you travel. Um, if you go into it with a solid plan, this is how I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to accept this, that, and the other. I'm going to be in a strange place. Maybe I'll look online, see what's around, see what times they're open, check in on the airport, ask around, look online, find out what they offer in the airport, what the airline offers, what's on the road ahead if you're traveling by car or whatever, and just kind of plan ahead. Give yourself, a couple hours, a day or two before you leave, and just do some research, man. We happen to live in the most, you know, every day is the most technologically advanced day in history, right? Because new stuff's coming out every day. You can literally find out anything, at your fingertips in the snap of a finger. So get online and look and see if you can, you know, find out what's ahead of you and what the hours are and kind of time things and go over it that way. But you can always count on expecting the unexpected. When you travel, you never know what can happen. For example, so I was planning on, fasting in the morning. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But the other day, for example, I was going to fly. I've been doing a lot of intermittent fasting lately. So I got up, went to work, no food, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna, hit the road, get to the when I get off work, get home, hit the road, get to the airport. That would have put me there a little after, 1ish in the afternoon, something like that. I worked about a half day. And then when I get through the terminal, I'll go, get some food in the terminal and get on my plane and go. And I got there and I got through the secure. I started going through security, and they pulled my family and I aside and did a full search of all our bags, broke everything down. Not even going to get into what I think about that or what a nightmare that was. I mean, we were standing there for over an hour as security is just going through our entire bags, taking literally everything out, looking at it, scanning it, and repacking it. Absolute nightmare, took forever. And I'm sitting there starving half to death. It's like creeping up on my meal time. And I'm like, I'm really going to have to get through this, run, literally run to the train, get on the train, and then run to my gate and hope I can even get on the plane. No time to eat. So just piss poor planning on my part, breaking my own kind of rules there. But it ended up being a situation where I had to rush, and run to my next flight and then get on the plane. And all there is on there is cookies and pretzels and crap that I don't eat anymore. So, needless to say, it was a long day where I didn't get to eat until late at night when I landed in New York City, and it was awful. And that just goes to, one thing I was thinking, you gotta think ahead, plan, and expect the unexpected. In hindsight, I will probably on a day I travel break my little fasting thing I've got going and just eat before I go to make sure I had something in me that day, because who knows when I'll be able to find a meal next. But going back to that, when I do travel, oftentimes in a perfect world, if everything's going great, I do find that intermittent fasting is a great tool that you can use when you travel. Um, because it allows you to, not be in a situation where you're forced to have to, you know, maybe have to eat lesser subpar quality food because you're in that, travel situation. If it all works out, it does work great. I just, I know that circumstance I went through is kind of a rarity. It's not going to happen every time. And it's just whatever going to be one of those things that can happen once in a while. But prior to that, I always implement fasting when I travel if I need to, whether that's on an airplane or on a road trip. And I find it works really well for me. It keeps me dialed in, focused when I'm traveling, and it's really just a good thing. So I use that quite a bit. Um, Finding foods in airports is really, depending on where you're going, not so bad anymore. Um, there's a lot of great options in a lot of airports. You can find, Wendy's, you can find McDonald's, you can find things like that in there. So if you find that you're going to airports or you're traveling from an airport that has something like that, you can take advantage of going there. Yeah, you're going to be probably paying out the ass a little bit. They're a little more expensive, but like by the time I got into one airport and there was McDonald's there, I got like three double quarter pounders with cheese plain and just ate the patties, and I was stuffed when I was done. I was fully satisfied. A lot of great protein and fat content because McDonald's does fry all their stuff in their own fat. You don't have to worry so much about the meat from McDonald's. It's like the fries and what they fry the food in and everything like that. So by the time all was said and done, I was all good. I had eaten. I felt great, and I went about my day. So keep in mind you can find great options in airports. Just like I said, look ahead and find out what's there, where you're going, and what their hours are, and try to kind of plan from there. Getting on the road sometimes can be, depending where you live, a little trickier. If you live on the East Coast and you're like bouncing between town to town to town to town, I was just there on the East Coast the other day, and it was just, a wealth of food. No matter where I drove from Boston to New York City, well, from New York City to Boston and then back, and there was tons of food along the way. Just whenever I was hungry, if I wanted to stop and grab, something, there was always something there. Out in the Midwest to the West Coast, it's a little different. You know, um, our states are bigger. They're a little more cities are a little more spread out than they are kind of on the East Coast. You can find yourself driving across Nebraska or Kansas, and it can be a long time before you find any like quality food to eat. So those are situations where I'm almost like living on pork rinds and beef jerky and things like that, and at the mercy of finding another, fast food place to stop at. So those are things to think about if you want to, like, if you're traveling. One thing you do have as an option when you're on the road, at least, is packing like a cooler or something with you and bring in some food, bring in like make some eggs, or hard boil some eggs, some lunch meat, things like that. Pack them all on ice. Those are all great options to bring with you. You know, get get some options like that, and just pack your own food to hold you over until you find that next place that you can stop and eat. So these are just some options to get you started. Like I said, this is just me. I had an idea that, maybe some people be in the same situation I was in and could use some quality advice about how to stick to their eating plan when they're, traveling cross country around the world or whatever. But that is all I got for you guys today. As always, I've got my links to my socials down below. And as always, hit me up on lion-dads.com. Also got a link down in the description where you can just get a hold of me on there. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.